reports today that the government employees medical scheme, that's GEMS, wants to stop the release of a report into racial profiling of doctors by medical aides before it's even out. Advocate Thembekile Mrototo chaired the Section 59 investigation into allegations that black, coloured and Indian doctors had their claims withheld based on their race and ethnicity. GEMS says it's been informed that the report does find that black healthcare providers were unfairly discriminated against. Let's discuss this then with Dr. Donald Gumede, Chairperson of the National Healthcare Professionals Association. They are the organisation that laid the initial complaint. Dr. Gumede, a very good evening to you. Good to speak to you. So, you have been sitting in, I understand, listening to the proceedings so far this afternoon. Are you able to give us an idea of what's been argued?
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, before we even get to the merits of the arguments, it's a sad day in South Africa because, you see, we flagged this behavior by medical aides. All of them joined, and they denied it heavily. And when the findings came out, the report came out on Thursday, sorry, I beg your pardon. And it was disseminated to us as a steering committee. So meaning GEMS also had the report themselves. And yes, of course, you are right. It has got damning effect on the findings that are on the report. And having said that, today's proceeding in court, yes, I was part of the court proceedings. The argument is that they need to be afforded time to read and respond to the report before the report can be released to the public, because today it was a due date at 12 o'clock to release the report, of which we don't understand actually why should they go and interdict the report, which is interim. It's not even final report. They are given an opportunity as an interim report to say, please, can you go and look at these allegations and correct? So they decided to go to court and interdict the report. And my worry or my pain is government medical aid is part of our government. It's like a child from crying that they're being molested, and you go and interdict the child for crying that they're being molested. And it's very sad for me, to be honest with you, because I thought GEMS would be the ones who will take up the emblem to say, no, let's correct the ills that have happened. Because now, in truth, it has been found that actually we have been discriminated, and they've been refusing.
Let me jump in there, Dr. Gumede. You say you're surprised that this would be an action that's coming from GEMS, the government medical aid scheme. In your experience in the sector, how would you describe the conduct of GEMS as far as treatment of black, Indian and coloured doctors?
Actually, as a matter of fact, it's so sad, and I'm going to reiterate it, because GEMS, when I appeared in one of the stations on TV and were presenting to them with a list of so-called blacklisted or corrupt practitioners, it was GEMS who did that. And some of those cases, they had not even tried them or even taken them to the council or anywhere else. The report is very detailed, the interim report. It's around 332 pages, which actually is detailing their conduct or their bad conduct. So they were actually part of one of the bad people or medical scheme who mistreated blacks, to be honest with you. So I'm surprised. I'm saying I'm surprised because they were cordial during the sittings to say, if we made any mistakes, we are willing to correct them. But all of a sudden they've turned around and then they actually don't want the report to be released.
And as a whole, Dr. Gumede, since the inquiry into the initial allegations which you brought forward, has the discrimination against black, Indian and coloured doctors continued from the side of medical aides?
Sadly, I can confirm to you that it has, and they have not actually stopped. Remember, if you were to get a hold of the report, you'll see that actually this is about monetary benefit from the scheme. It's not about fraud or anything. Because like we had said, how do you claim that you are making 22 billion in recovering fraud every year or year in, year out, but you are not prepared to cap it? It doesn't make sense. So they've made it a money-making scheme phenomenon by bullying and intimidating black, colored Indian practitioners. And it's sad, like I'm repeating, it's sad that our government, like you remember 3 weeks ago, we had an interview in your station, and I emphasized that this report needs to be released because it's long overdue. And now it's released, it's blocked by the same government. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, maybe if it was other medical schemes which are private, I would maybe understand a little bit. GEMS of all people and BHF to go to court on a Sunday to ask for an interdict to stop the release of the report. To me, it's absurd.
Okay, very quickly, Doctor, do you know when we might expect an outcome from the court, given the urgency of the matter?
The judge reserved the judgment for Tuesday. So this Tuesday, we're going to get the judgment released, and we'll know the way forward. But for the whole country and South Africa, it's a sad day, to be honest, that our sit-in government is actually watching us suffer at the hands of this medical aid.
Dr. Donald Gumede, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Gumede is chairperson of the National Healthcare Professionals Association.